All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling a huge question, maybe the biggest question for businesses looking at AI. You see the power of tools like ChatGPT, and you think, how can I get that from my company using my private data? And how do you do it without, spending a fortune or accidentally leaking all your company secrets? Let's break it down. So this is the puzzle, right? On one side, you have these incredibly smart general-purpose AIs. On the other, you have your company's secret sauce, all your internal documents, your customer histories, your financial reports. The dream is to make the AI an expert on your world. But how do you actually build that bridge safely?
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll talk about a fundamental shift in how people even think about building AI. Then we'll look at the jaw-dropping cost of doing it the old way. After that, we'll unpack the super smart solution everyone's turning to called RAG. We'll peek under the hood to see how it works, and then see how real companies are using it today.
To really get the solution, we first need to understand that the entire playbook for building AI has been flipped on its head over the last few years. It's not just about having the fanciest algorithm anymore. This right here is the big idea. For decades, it was all model-centric. You had your data, and you'd spend all your time and energy endlessly tweaking the AI model to squeeze out a tiny bit more performance. But now, we're deep in the data-centric age. Powerful models like GPT-4 are basically off the shelf. So the new game is to keep the model the same and pour all your effort into making your data better. Because today, better data is what makes a better AI.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. AI legend Andrew Ng was saying this even before ChatGPT was a thing. He saw that as the models themselves become commodities, the real, durable advantage, the thing that really moves the needle, is going to come from having high-quality, well-organized data.
So how does this actually play out? A perfect way to visualize it is the data flywheel, and Tesla is the poster child for this. Every Tesla on the road is a data-gathering machine, spotting weird situations. That data gets sent back, analyzed, and used to make the self-driving AI smarter. Then that smarter AI gets pushed back out to the cars. It's this continuous loop, plan, curate, build, analyze, that just keeps making the system better and better. Okay, so focusing on data is the way to go. Got it. But this leads to a huge billion-dollar problem. If you want an AI that's an expert in something specific, like finance or law, does that mean you have to build a brand new model from scratch using all that data? Well, you could if you happen to have a money printing machine in your basement. The numbers are just mind-boggling. Look at Bloomberg GPT, an AI that specializes in finance. That cost millions of dollars and took almost 2 months of nonstop work on the most powerful computers available. Even if you just fine-tune an existing model, like Google did for medicine, you still need a mountain of expert-reviewed data. And get this, for smaller companies trying to build their own custom models, this number here, $2 billion, is about $1.5 million US. Some startups are burning through that much every single month, just for the raw computing power. For 99% of businesses, that's just not going to happen. So if building from scratch is way too expensive, what's the alternative? This is where a truly clever and efficient approach comes into play. It's called RAG. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. But let's forget the jargon for a second. Think of it like this. Instead of trying to surgically implant all your company's knowledge into the AI's brain, you just give the AI a library card to your company's private library. So when a question comes in, the system first runs through the library, pulls the most relevant books off the shelf, and then hands them to the AI to read right before it gives you an answer. And one of the most incredible benefits of this is that it basically solves the AI hallucination problem. You know, when the AI just confidently makes stuff up. You could ask a normal AI a silly question like, tell me about when King Sejong the Great used a MacBook, and it might cook up a crazy story. But a RAG system, it checks the history books first, sees zero mention of MacBooks, and comes back and says, sorry, that never happened. It grounds the AI in reality, your reality. The whole process is really just 4 simple steps. 1, you ask a question. 2, the system instantly retrieves the most relevant snippets of info from your private database. 3, it augments your original question by bundling that info along with it. And 4, it hands that complete package to the AI, which then generates an answer based on the facts you provided. Okay, so that retrieve step sounds a little bit like magic. How does the system know which documents to grab out of maybe millions of possibilities? Let's pop the hood for a second. The secret is a cool bit of math called vectors.
All it really means is that every piece of your information, every sentence, every paragraph, gets turned into a string of numbers. You can think of it like a coordinate on a giant map of ideas. Things with similar meanings end up being neighbors on the map. So to find relevant info, the system just converts your question to a coordinate and says, "Show me everything nearby." Now, before you can make that map, you have to decide how to break up your documents. This is called chunking, and it's a real strategic choice. If you use small chunks, it's great for pulling up very specific facts, but you might lose the bigger picture. If you use large chunks, you keep the context, which is better for summary questions, but you might miss some of the details. Nailing this is a key part of building a great RAG system.
So, this all sounds really good on paper, but is anyone actually doing this in the real world? Oh yeah, let's look at how some of the most security-obsessed organizations are putting RAG into practice.
Major financial companies in Korea are going all in on RAG, but they're being incredibly smart and careful. They always start with internal tools first. Think an HR bot for employees, or a tool that helps a bank teller find the perfect product for a customer in seconds. They use secure cloud platforms that keep all the data in their own country, and their whole goal is to prove that it's useful and totally safe inside their own walls before ever dreaming of letting customers use it.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hey, this whole RAG thing, it sounds an awful lot like those custom GPTs I can make in a few clicks on the GPT store. Why all the extra work? Well, the answer comes down to one hugely important thing: security.
The simple public tools are full of security holes. Attackers have shown over and over that they can trick these bots into spilling their secret instructions. That's called prompt leaking. They can hijack the bot's mission. And here's the really scary one. They can fool the GPT into zipping up all the private files you uploaded and just handing over a download link. For any real business, that is an absolute non-starter.
And that's really the bottom line here. Building your own RAG system isn't just about getting better answers. It's about building a fortress. It puts a secure firewall between the public AI model and your precious private data, ensuring nothing ever leaks out.
So, if you zoom out and look at how smart companies are tackling AI today, the path becomes crystal clear. For the huge majority, we're talking 70%, RAG is the way to go. It's the most practical, affordable, and secure path. Some might later go on to fine-tuning for very specific tasks, and a tiny, tiny fraction with unlimited budgets might build from scratch. RAG has become the default starting line for enterprise AI.
And this brings us all the way back to where we started, with that data-centric mindset. You see, the question for every company is no longer, when are we going to get AI? The AI is already here. The much more important question, the one everyone needs to be asking right now, is our data ready for the AI? Because that is the real challenge and the incredible opportunity in this new world. Thanks for watching.